this isn't just my opinion, this is just the general vibe I kind of get with Spider-Man, but this is my recommended reading order or recommended readings for you if you want to get into the Marvel's greatest character, Spider-Man. Now, if you can handle dialogue heavy, um, no, if you can handle a dialogue heavy comic and you're used to that Silver Age sort of story, like very olden comic style, obviously the Stan Lee run is just iconic. It introduces all the characters, brings all the character development, outlines all of the Spider-Man stuff. And Stan Lee stayed on the book for like, I believe over 100 issues. Like, he doesn't just work with Steve Ditko, who left at 38, I believe. You also got the what's his name? Hold up. He's the senior, which is John Romita Senior. Those two work. I've heard it's really good. I think he works with Gil Kane next, but generally, like Stan Lee's run is a pretty good spot if you use the dialogue heavy stuff. Now, if you're kind of a newer fan and you still want that 616 Spider-Man, obviously JMS's run is just iconic. It brought Peter as a teacher, it gave him the relatability of still struggling with his money. There was two dodgy arcs, but then I think they get picked up by better stories anyway. Like, they're a bit dodgy, but one of it was heavy editorial, the other one he actually apologized for. It doesn't really matter, two bad stories out of what? I think it was over 50 issues. You're gonna get a couple of not so good stuff. But overall, it's considered to be the best Spider-Man run. Another one is Ultimate Spider-Man, which is not main universe Spider-Man. That's by Bendis. Just recommend reading all 133 issues, I believe. And then it goes on to Miles as Ultimate Spider-Man. It's really good. At the start, it kind of feels a bit TV showish, but then you get used to it, like just the way the writing and it builds up more stuff. I especially really liked the stuff after Bagley left, I believe, where they had all the superheroes kind of teamed up. If you watch the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show, might be the same. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man is really good. It's a good read. It's a good place to start as well. Uh, Now we also got Dan Slott's run, who sort of starts at, I think it's Brand New Day, but that's with a team. And then after that is Big Time Spider-Man, I believe, which goes into more stuff. And then there's obviously his Superior Spider-Man, which you don't have to read anything before, but if you want to read Dan Slott at his best, just read Superior Spider-Man, because it's a really fun run. It's a cool concept. It changes Peter's ideals, but it still has him there. It also leads into Spider-Verse, which is the blockbuster for Spider-Man. It's just fun as hell. One thing I will say about Spider-Man is his graphic, like single stories will be good, but there's so much build up to it. I recommend just reading through the runs. Like even Kraven the Hunter, you kind of need to read a couple issues before to get to know the character, know what his actual motives are. But it's still pretty good. And there's another guy, J.M. Demetrius, who did Spectacular Spider-Man, and he's the one who did Kraven the Lost Hunt, I believe. And that's a really solid run. Introduces a lot of concepts, a lot of cool stuff with the Spider-Man characters. Peter David's Spider-Man is also pretty good. I think he did Spectacular as well. I'm not too sure. Just look up Peter David Spider-Man, you'll find it. But he did a really good arc, which was the death of Jean DeWolf. Just perfectly handled. Even the art in that's really good, and I don't know who the artist is, but yeah. Getting into Spider-Man, there's different like starting points, but depending on the type of person you are, just pick one. Even the recent run is pretty easy to get into, but if you're looking for Peter Parker, you're not really gonna get it. So I would recommend, like, if you think Ben Riley's pretty cool, maybe start reading him. I wouldn't recommend the 2018 Nick Spencer run though. I think it, especially for newer readers, it's pretty hard to understand. It pulls a lot from old stuff. It's an enjoyable read, but not a good starter read. But still, just if you want 616 Spider-Man, JMS or Stan Lee. If you want a more modern comic, JMS's Spider-Man. If you want something brand new with its own continuity, Ultimate Spider-Man. And then you got the other runs like Peter David, J.M. Demetrius. I'm sure Stan Lee's run will take you forever to read. But yeah. Also, after you've read a bit, Spider-Man Life Story is really good. It does cover a lot of, or has references to a lot of Spider-Man stories, so you want to be used to the character to get the full experience. Well, you don't have to read every single issue, obviously, but yeah. I believe most Spider-Man runs are really good. Just stick away from the Clone Saga and you'll be fine.